Education as a vaccine. The adolescence period is a time of huge opportunity. It is, however, also a period of peer pressure and vulnerability to unwholesome behaviors such as crime, smoking, alcohol consumption, and inappropriate sexual practices. There's therefore the need to engage youths at this early stage of life to position and empower them with the tools and knowledge to become agents of positive change in the society. Education is crucial to achieving this important goal. Indeed, education can be seen as a vaccine to inoculate young minds against the lure and pull of vices and unwholesome or unhealthy practices that will mortgage their future. Education is fundamental to the growth and advancement of young people's lives globally. Ensuring access to quality education must be a key component of youth empowerment programs. According to a United Nations report on youth, approximately 10.6% of young people globally are non-literate. These youths lack basic numerical and reading skills and therefore lack the means to be able to sustain a living through full and decent employment. Nigeria has a large youth population. The youth make up more than 42% of the country's population of over 200 million people. According to a report by UNICEF, about 10.5 million Nigerian children are not in school, even though primary education is officially free and compulsory. This is a huge problem. Available evidence shows that adolescents who are out of school are more likely to engage in unhealthy practices. On Wednesday, 12 February 2020, the Gown and Town project team organized a stakeholders dialogue event to discuss the findings of the community-based research on out-of-school children carried out by adolescents.
I'm Dr. Adeshola Oluwafunlola Olumide. I work at the Institute of Child Health, University of Ibadan, and University College Hospital, Ibadan, and I'm the principal investigator for the Gown and Town project.
The event, which was held at the Otumba Shubomi Conference Center, University of Ibadan, Oyo State, provided a platform for adolescents to present their research findings and recommendations to a larger number of stakeholders, including representatives of the Ministry of Education, researchers, school proprietors, as well as parents.
First of all, the Gown and Town project is a project that is a community partnership program. It's more like an engagement program, trying to bring the gown that is represented by the university to the town, who are the stakeholders or those that actually use the results of all our research. Now, we had realized that many times a lot of research goes on in the universities and stays there. And so this particular project is trying to break that divide, taking our research findings to town and trying to get their take on it as well, so that they can help us to develop feasible solutions in going forward.
This Gown to Town project is actually really about school retention. What we have realized in a couple of studies we have done is that there's an increase in the rate of out of school within the community, and so we decided to find out what are some of the things that actually cause school dropout. And
in doing this, we had a wide array of problems we could look at. One of the problems very key to our own hearts in the Institute of Child Health is adolescent health problems. And we realized that many times during the adolescent years, people have a tendency to engage in health risk behaviors. Some of these include things like cigarette smoking, alcohol use, and unsafe sexual practices. Now, when they imbibe these activities, what happens is that it affects their health currently as adolescents. It affects their health when they become adults, and it affects their health and the health of their children when they start having their own children as well too.
Some students stay in school because they see someone to talk to. They have counselors, someone they can confide in, someone who they can share their problem with. This is one of the reasons why most students stay in school.
Yes, to start with, I found out that money is a big issue there. The students of nowadays, or let me say the adolescents of nowadays, think it's very easy to make money without going to school. They think it's just best to start to work than to waste their time going to school. They think school is a waste of time. And with the things they have seen with graduates, unemployed and everything, they think they are so going to end up in the same way and the way their past ones have ended up. So they thought it's just of no use of going to school.
See some of our, students nowadays that are supposed to be even GSS classes, riding Okadas here and there. And the onus lies on the parents. Once the students are exposed to child labor, that kind of a child will eventually drop out of the school. There must be a regulation on child labor from the government. Check the excesses of underage, students riding Okadas. There must be an age limit for people that are riding Okada.
2 years ago, nígbà tó fẹ́ ṣe WAEC ní SS3, àdáàdì ni òwò tí wọ́n máa fi support mi láti máa fi ṣe WAEC òun ní fi lọ school mọ́ nígbà yẹn.
Orúkọ mi ni Matthew Olabi. Iṣẹ́ tailor ni mo kọ́, mo drop out ní school ní SS2. Bó ṣe pé torí pé àwọn òbí mi ò lè kó ṣe pé torí pé wọ́n lè sanwó school fees mi, àwọn láwọn àbúrò tó lọ school, àwọn láwọn àbúrò tó ti lọ school. But pé bí due to àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ burúkú téèyàn bá rìn àti pé decision èèyàn téèyàn make tó máa pé mi make decision mi wáyé pé mo fẹ́ máa bá wọn rìn kò ní rí bẹ́ẹ̀ náà ó dì wípé màá wà school by small decision wípé mo lọ join bad gang soon òun dájú sọ pé òkè mi ò lọ wípé àwọn jẹ́ kí n lọ school mọ́.
ẹni téèyàn bá rìn ni ó máa fa ìwà téèyàn máa wù wọ́n ní kó máa lọ kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ school ọ̀tọ̀ ní nǹkan tó lọ ṣe school lọ́wọ́ kọ́ ẹgbẹ́ tó pé school wọn kò ní good security tó pé wọ́n free inú school kò ní nǹkan tó lè ṣe wọ́n lè máa gambling wọ́n lè máa tayé tẹ́nu school àwọn kan báyìí ló jẹ́ kí èèyàn máa sin school mọ́.
In doing this, we decided to speak with adolescents themselves. They are the key stakeholders. They are the ones that have this problem. And so we gathered adolescents together, in-school adolescents and out-of-school adolescents. And we gave them tools to use. We gave them phones to go and take pictures of things in society that represent enablers and that represent barriers to secondary school enrollment. And they took a lot of pictures. In fact, they provided us with a lot of information, which we as researchers probably wouldn't have had if we hadn't worked with them.
The interesting thing about working with the kids that we worked in on this project was that even the children that were out of school were pretty smart. So by the time you have conversations with them, you realize that these kids are actually smart. Too smart to be out of school, actually. That was one of the interesting things that we noticed from interacting with these children. And also for those of them that are in school, they're so perceptive. They can actually, some of the things we never thought of in our own interaction, even some things that we have in literature already, some of the things we never thought of were the things they came up with while we interacted with them.
Ghana and Town has done wonderfully today. They have done everything possible to make the situation controllable and to bring an awareness onto every stakeholder to know the way forward.
For me, I can say that my day has been made. I mean, there's no point we come here and then we push things. The government points at teachers point back at the government, students say the teacher is the school, and then the meat of the things, we have them right here among us. Out of school, they dropped out, and they are saying they were not ashamed to say that they dropped out, and they were also saying that if we have the opportunity, we will go back. So why should we block our ears to that and pretend as if we are not here? We didn't hear that.
Takeaways are, first of all, what are the key things that prevent them from staying in school, and the key things that keep them in school. We realize that many of those things were on the individual level. Some adolescents are discouraged, some of them are poor, and so they go looking for money. For those of the things that keep them in school, things like intelligence, those who are very smart tend to stay on in school. There were also a lot of barriers within the school system. Lack of infrastructure, lack of perimeter fences around schools. This makes adolescents go out anyhow, in and out. That was also a problem. Also from the education policy. The good thing is, in Oyo State right now, we have an excellent policy, which is that education all the way to senior secondary school level should be free. But we are now adding our voice to say that not only should it be free, it should be quality education. Because without quality education, adolescents will be put off and they will step out. Another key thing that came out of this program is the fact that all stakeholders have given us feasible interventions, little steps that we can take to ensure that our adolescents stay in school. Things like counseling adolescents, for instance. We do have counselors in school, but we hope that all teachers here today, even those who are not counselors, have gone out knowing that they can talk to one adolescent, they can talk to a second adolescent, and that would help along the way. Also things that government can do. With the out-of-school adolescents, for instance, that we interviewed, we have an assurance that some of these adolescents, if we can bring their names actually to the Ministry of Education, they will be taken back into school, and that really gladdens our hearts. Also, we have teachers saying that they are going forward to do a better job. So on the long run, I mean, for every single category of stakeholder, each person has one good thing, two things that they're going to do to ensure that our adolescents stay in school. And we hope that if they stay in school, they will become good adolescents, they will mature to responsible adults, and we can look forward to a better Nigeria in the future.
To adolescents out there, I'll say that there's no time you won't make that money. Let's focus on the important thing now. Parents should please not put pressure on the adolescents. This is not the time that parents will genuine. We will genuine at the end of the day when we have enabled them, when we have built their capacity. That is when we can start reaping the dividend. It's not now. So let's take it easy with them, encourage them to stay in school. If eventually they are going to learn a trade or learn a skill, at least let them get the basic education. And then they will be a better tailor, a better photographer, a better carpenter at the end of the day.
I want to say parents should befriend their children. Many of them are too far from their children. They don't know them actually. To the extent that even when we invite them to school, to tell them about the children, some will even argue that it cannot be, this cannot be my son you are talking about. Let them attend PTA meetings, or anytime we call on them, they should come. There's also room for open day, at least once a term, in which parents will come in, see what is happening academically, socially, how he's behaving, so as to know where to continue.
Gàdé ń sọ fún wọn ní pé ẹ̀kọ́ dáa gan, ó dáa kéèyàn wà educated. Bó bá kàwé, tó bá rò pé o kàwé pé o lówó lọ́wọ́ òṣìṣẹ́ kankan, àwọn ibì kan wà tó yẹ pé o lè dé táwọn tó kàwé dé, àwọn ibì kan wà tó yẹ pé àwọn tó kàwé wọ̀ tán kàwé wọ̀ tó yẹ pé kò lè wọ̀. Mo advice ń bẹ fún wọn ní pé ó dáa kéèyàn kàwé gan láyé gan kó ní millions of naira gan tó bá kàwé, àwọn ibì kan wà tó yẹ pé ìyẹn ó sì máa jẹ́ tó yẹ kó sì máa padà jìyà, ó dáa kéèyàn kàwé.
To the young people out there, I would say they just need to believe and have hope that when they graduate and when they get to where they are going to get to, the Lord will find a way for them. There's no how you will say because our elders ones are not getting job, we will not get job. And the best thing is just to go and work somewhere else. Education is the best legacy. You just have to be educated. God will make a way for you when you are educated.
Firstly, I want to tell them that there's nowhere they want to get to in life without education. They need education to open the door for them, and other skills that they have will make them king in the field they want to choose. I want them to say that, I want to tell them that no matter challenges they are facing in school right now that will want to make them to drop out of school or that has made them drop out of school, they shouldn't look at that. They should look at the future, what they want to become, their future ambition, and that should be the driving force that will keep them going all the time. They should keep looking at their goals, keep checking it every single day, and with that they will keep going no matter the circumstances.
So what I would like to say to everyone that will listen to this or that have been part of this is, it's not so much, one thing we noticed that people pushed out the blame. people were more quick to blame the government, to blame the school system, to blame the educational system, Ministry of Education and all. And very few people were considering, how have I contributed to this problem? What can I do to stop or influence or improve what we have right now? And so what we want to encourage, what I would like to say, is that people should begin to think, what can I do as an individual to increase the rate of school retention among young ones in the community?
After this, we're going to collect all the findings that we have together, put them into little booklets and share with all the categories of stakeholders. Also, we're going to start doing practical things to ensure that the out-of-school adolescents that we interviewed go back into school. We're also going to speak with more school principals to let them know these are the things that we found. How can they also help to keep our adolescents in school? And we've been challenged that we need to take this beyond the urban areas. We need to take it beyond the privileged areas and go to the rural areas where they also have this problem and greater problems as well too.